Tonight on Texas News Primetime, a vehicle crash on Barton Springs Road injures bystanders at a food truck.
A new student organization on campus brings demands for UT administration.
And UT Housing and Dining announces the plan to start offering gender-inclusive housing for several unit residency homes.
You're watching Texas News Primetime.
Your leader for live, local UT coverage. Good evening and welcome to Texas News Primetime for Monday, April 11th. I'm Kevin Bosker.
And I'm Andres Calixto. Thank you for joining us tonight.
On Friday, 11 people eating at a food truck were hit by a car on Barton Springs Road. 9 were injured and taken to a hospital. In fact, there was a trauma alert issued for 2 of the patients, indicating serious life-threatening injuries in need of treatment. Austin EMS provided an update after arriving at the scene. Let's take a look.
There were 2 vehicles involved. It was a T-bone type collision, and one of the vehicles was pushed into a group of pedestrians that were near the food truck. 2 of the patients that were involved were declared trauma alerts for us. One went to Del Seaton, one went to South Austin. All the patients involved were adults. 2 of the patients involved refused any treatment or transport to the hospital from us.
The Austin Police Department is continuing to investigate the situation.
The largest 10K race in the state of Texas happened yesterday. The Stateman's Capital 10K race began in 1978 and has become one of Austin's annual attractions with more than 15,000 runners racing yesterday. Since 2018, the race has not happened, with the past 3 years having been postponed because of a weather cancellation in 2019 and then COVID-19 in 2020 and 2021. This is the first time in the race's history that money was awarded to runners. First place went to David Fuentes, who won $1,500. Duriel Hardy won second place with a margin of 4 seconds behind Fuentes and was awarded $800. And coming in third place was Daniel Golden, who was awarded $200.
Our own TNP reporter Mariela Villa interviewed some members of the UT Austin chapter of Students for Democratic Society. Let's take a look.
This past Saturday, the City of Austin Parks and Recreation Department honored the late civil rights activist Juan Cabell, who helped to push for racial integration for both Barton Springs Pool and Zilker Park. Cabell died this past October 2021 as a teenager. In the late 1950s. She was the 3rd group of students to integrate into Austin High School. In her senior year, Cabell organized swimming, in which she was the first black person to jump into Barton Springs Pool, with continued swimmings throughout the summer. Barton Springs Pool officially integrated in 1962. At Saturday's ceremony, a PBS documentary was shown featuring Cabell, in addition to the setup of listening booths in which people had the opportunity to share personal experiences and oral histories about race and Barton Springs. According to city officials, these oral histories will serve as a part of virtual and physical exhibit at Beverly's Sheffield Education Center.
Take your vitamins and start wearing protection pads because a shortage of Austin emergency medical services may be on the rise. Austin EMS Association is so frustrated with the city's 14-cent raise increase for them that they are contemplating quitting. Workers claim that this is a, quote, slap in the face, and between the storm and the pandemic, it's gotten to be too much. The president of the association, Selena Zai, said the negotiations are currently in the works, but a strike will not take place because they have a commitment to keep the community safe.
A year before the start of the pandemic, Sam Hellman Mass, founder and owner of Suerte Restaurant, launched the Mike and Sherry Project, which is a program that intends to offer low-cost counseling to workers in about 40 participating bars and restaurants in Austin. So far, the program, through non-profit Capital Area Counseling, has provided more than 5,000 therapy sessions. This weekend, the program received funds from Baylor Scott and White Health, Tito's Handmade Vodka, the State Men's Capital 10K race, and donations from runners, totaling to $61,000. Workers in the restaurant industry who work in stressful environments for long hours, doing physically demanding work, and at times for insufficient pay, are often overlooked and are thankful of this program offering mental health services such as therapy.
A 26-year-old woman in Starr County, Texas was charged with murder after a self-induced abortion, which, according to the sheriff's department, quote, intentionally and knowingly caused the death of an individual. The district attorney, Alan Ramirez, now says that the woman, quote, cannot be and should not be prosecuted for the allegation against her. This comes in the wake of the passing of SB 8, which deputizes citizens to enforce a near-total abortion ban. This has led to approximately 1,400 Texans traveling outside the state each month for abortions, according to a study by the University of Texas.
A Texas landlord is under investigation after accepting rent relief money but still evicting the tenants anyway. Kara Scott and her family came home only to be greeted by their belongings spread across the lawn, much stolen and locks changed. Evictions are bigger than ever. The review and audit process is a long and painful one, according to Scott, and the only thing that they can really do is rebuild and not give up.
The Texas Secretary of State recently announced that about 24,000 mail-in ballots were rejected, or about 12% of all mail-in ballots. Elections officials across Texas said that most ballots were rejected because of the stricter ID requirements enacted by SB 1. This is a significant increase as the 2020 election saw less than 1% of ballots rejected. Texas is one of the most difficult states to vote by mail, and the vast majority of those who vote by mail are over 65 or disabled.
The largest dark sky reserve in the world is coming to Texas thanks to UT's McDonald Observatory, the Nature Conservancy, and partners in Texas and Mexico. The reserve encompasses 15,000 square miles in western Texas and northern Mexico. The goal of dark sky reserves is to limit light pollution and preserve dark skies for future generations.
A more gender-inclusive option for UT students is in the works for the upcoming school year after a big push from student advocates. The 2-year pilot program is called Family and Friends Expanded Roommate Option and will allow students to present a case to University Housing Services for a more gender-inclusive living option. The university will be viewing requests on a case-by-case basis, but students like Adriana Hunter, who is a senior and a trans woman, believes that this is something that will tangibly lead to more trans students feeling included. Coming up on Texas News Primetime, we have Kevin Myers, who's going to bring you up to date on the world of business.
Stay tuned and we'll be right back.